Earlier this year, WWE underwent one of its biggest talent purges in history, with 41 wrestlers and crew members released from the company almost overnight. This included established main roster stars like Braun Strowman, Carlito, and Dakota Kai, along with up-and-coming talents like Cora Jade, Cedric Alexander, and many others. But fast forward to today, what does the wrestling landscape look like for these released superstars? Did they find a new home in other wrestling promotions? Did they get lost on the independent circuit and go down the dark path of substance abuse and hedonism? Or did they quit wrestling entirely and find success in some other venture? What happened to every WWE wrestler released in 2025? Let's find out. First on our list is Cora Jade. Cora Jade's WWE journey was a roller coaster of injuries and controversy. Signed to WWE at just 19 years old, Jade quickly became one of NXT's most polarizing figures. Initially positioned as a fan favorite alongside Roxanne Perez, she captured the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships and became a key star of the NXT brand. However, it was her shocking heel turn that truly defined her WWE run. In a moment that shocked the fans, Jade brutally attacked her best friend Roxanne and launched one of NXT's most personal rivalries that established her as a main event player in NXT's women's division. Despite her undeniable talent and heat-generating ability, Jade's run in NXT was riddled with injuries and setbacks. It seemed like whenever she was about to get her big main event push, she would get injured just days before. WWE released Jade on May 2nd as part of their massive NXT talent cuts. At just 22 years old, many expected her to bounce back quickly in the wrestling world. Post-release, Jade reclaimed her pre-WWE identity and announced her return to her previous ring name, Elena Black, through a dramatic social media vignette. Elena jumped into the independent scene, wrestling for promotions like GCW, where she lost an intergender match to Joey Janela and announced upcoming appearances for ALW and BLP. However, in a surprising turn of events, Elena posted in July that she was taking an indefinite break from wrestling, questioning whether she still possessed the same passion for the business after her WWE release. Speaking of taking time away from wrestling, the next wrestler on our list is yet to see return to the ring since her WWE release. Dakota Kai's WWE story is one of perseverance through adversity. Originally signed with the WWE in 2016, the New Zealand native spent years fighting through injuries and setbacks before making it to the main roster. Her breakthrough came when she aligned with Bayley and Io Sky to form one of WWE's most dominant female factions, Damage Control. As a founding member of Damage Control, Dakota finally reached the heights many believed she deserved. Her hard-hitting style and natural charisma made her an essential part of the faction's success, and she was positioned as a legit contender heading into WrestleMania 41. That made her release in May all the more shocking. Despite her recent push and tag title run, Dakota became one of the most surprising casualties of WWE's budget cuts. Her response to the news was posting a meme from Grand Theft Auto on social media. Since her release, Kai has embraced a more relaxed approach to her career. She's become a regular presence on Twitch, and she's also been open about her personal life, frequently posting photos on social media with her boyfriend, fellow wrestler Carl Fredericks, who was also released from WWE as Eddie Thorpe. Together, they're navigating life after WWE while keeping their options open for the future. However, unlike Cora Jade and Dakota Kai, the next name on our list has no plans of stepping away from the ring in the near future. Cedric Alexander had some real highs and lows during his WWE run. He burst onto the scene as a part of the Cruiserweight Classic and immediately impressed fans with his high-flying style. Things got even better when he joined the Hurt Business with MVP Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. This was easily the best period of his WWE career. The group was over with fans, Cedric won the Raw Tag Team Championships, and for once, WWE seemed to know what to do with him. However, since the Hurt Business abandoned, Cedric kept floating on WWE's undercard without any clear direction. After his release in February, the former Cruiserweight champion didn't waste any time. He jumped right into the indie scene with shows for House of Glory and Deadlock Pro Wrestling. But the real news came when he showed up in TNA Wrestling in June, immediately going after former WWE star Mustafa Ali. The two had a big match at Slammiversary, though Alexander came up short. Still, his TNA debut got people talking. There are also rumors swirling that AEW wants to sign him and potentially reunite the Hurt Syndicate, which would be really cool for Alexander and his former stablemates. Speaking of cool, let's talk about the next wrestler on our list. Carlito's second WWE run was way different from his first. When he came back in 2021, fans were excited to see the Caribbean cool superstar return to the WWE with his apple-spitting antics. He had some solid matches and even joined the Judgment Day briefly, but WWE never really gave him that big singles push fans hoped for. His run felt more like a nostalgia act than a serious comeback. Sure, he could still go in the ring, but WWE seemed content to use him as a comedy act rather than the credible in-ring star he once was. By mid-2025, news broke out that Carlito's contract wasn't getting renewed, a quiet end to his second WWE chapter. But here's where things get interesting. Carlito went straight back to his roots in Puerto Rico, returning to WWC where his legendary father Carlos Colon built the family legacy. At Summer Madness, Carlito captured the WWC Puerto Rico Heavyweight Championship, proving he still got it at 45 years old. Unfortunately, his title reign only lasted 28 days before he dropped the belt. Still, winning championship gold so quickly after leaving WWE shows Carlito can still be a top guy somewhere else. There are whispers about potential AEW appearances, but nothing's been confirmed yet. For now, he's back home doing what he loves. Sonya Deville had one of the more unique WWE careers in recent memory. She started as part of Absolution with Paige and Mandy Rose, but really found her groove when she teamed up with Mandy as Fire and Desire. The two had great chemistry and some memorable feuds, especially their personal rivalry that tore the team apart. But Deville's biggest success came when she stepped away from full-time wrestling. WWE moved her into an on-screen authority role alongside Adam Pearce, and honestly, she was really decent at it. She had natural charisma as an executive and could cut promos that felt believable. That's why her release earlier this year caught many fans off guard. Deville seemed like someone WWE would keep around in some capacity, especially given how well she worked in the authority role. But budget cuts don't always make sense. After leaving WWE, Deville made a smart career move that plays to her real-life background. She became a commentator for Invicta Fighting Championship. Going back to her real name Daria Baronato, she's found a role that combines her broadcasting skills with her actual combat sports expertise. It's a perfect fit that lets her stay connected to fighting without the physical toll of wrestling. The Good Brothers had a weird up-and-down relationship with WWE. After their first run ended in 2020, they went back to New Japan and Impact, only to return to WWE in 2022. Their second stint saw them reunite with AJ Styles as the OC, and they managed to capture the Raw Tag Team Championships one more time. But their 2025 run felt different. WWE never really seemed to know what to do with them this time around. They were solid veterans who could work with anyone, but they got lost in the shuffle of WWE's packed tag division. WWE released both men on February 8, 2025, and honestly, it wasn't shocking. The writing was on the wall that their second WWE chapter was wrapping up. At least this time, there was no drama, just a mutual parting of ways. The Good Brothers didn't waste time feeling sorry for themselves. They immediately started planning their return to familiar territory. On May 9th, they showed up at New Japan's Resurgence show in a huge way, teaming with the Young Bucks to take down Bullet Club War Dogs. Beyond NJPW, they've been working the indie circuit, including shows for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, and they seem way more comfortable being back in control of their own careers. Sometimes going back to what works is the smartest move you can make. But Gallows and Anderson weren't the only wrestlers who went back to Japan after getting released from the WWE. Blair Davenport never quite got the push she deserved in WWE. The former Stardom star came in with serious credibility from Japan's wrestling scene, and she showed flashes of brilliance in NXT. She won the 2023 NXT Women's Iron Survivor Challenge and had that hard-hitting international style that made her stand out. But WWE seemed unsure how to book her. Davenport would disappear for weeks, then show up for a big spot, only to vanish again. It felt like creative never had a real plan for her. Davenport's post-WWE career has been the complete opposite. She knew exactly where she belonged. At New Japan Resurgence on May 9th, she returned to her original name, Bea Priestley, and immediately reminded everyone why she was such a big deal in Japan. She picked up a win against Viva Van and looked right at home back in NJPW. She's also been working the independent scene, taking bookings that actually showcase her skills. It's wild how much better wrestlers can look when they're in the right environment. For Priestley, leaving WWE might have been the best thing that happened to her career. While Priestley was a new name in the WWE locker room, this next wrestler on our list had already spent over half a decade in the WWE before getting released. Shayna Baszler was one of those wrestlers who seemed bulletproof in WWE. She dominated NXT like few others. Her MMA background made her feel legit dangerous, and when she finally moved to the main roster, it seemed like she'd be a major player for years. She could work with anyone and always brought that intense, no-nonsense attitude that made her matches feel important. Baszler did find success on the main roster, winning the Women's Tag Team Championships 3 times with different partners. Plus, her friendship with Ronda Rousey added another layer to her character. That's what made her release on May 2nd so shocking. Baszler was 44, but still performing at a high level. She had the credibility, the experience, and the respect of everyone in the locker room. But WWE Creative apparently had no direction for Baszler. However, here's where it gets interesting though. On July 9th, Baszler was reportedly listed as a producer on an episode of NXT. This could mean a few things. Maybe WWE realized their mistake and brought her back in a behind-the-scenes role. Or maybe it was just a one-off thing to help with a specific storyline. Either way, it shows WWE still values what Baszler brings to the table. Her wrestling career might not be over, but she could have a bright future helping train the next generation. However, out of all the releases we've discussed so far, the next wrestler on our list has to be the one whose release shocked fans the most. Braun Strowman's WWE story is pretty wild when you think about it. The guy went from strongman competitor to monster among men and became one of WWE's biggest stars. His first run had everything: flipping ambulances, destroying cars, and Universal Championship reign. So when WWE released him in 2021, fans were pissed. His 2022 return felt like WWE admitting they made a mistake. Strowman came back and immediately picked up where he left off, winning championships and destroying everything in his path. But here's something most fans didn't know. He was wrestling with his left leg 15% paralyzed throughout his entire second run. That's absolutely insane when you think about the stuff he was doing in the ring. WWE released him again on May 2nd, 2025, but this time it wasn't about his performance. According to Bill Apter, it was all about money. Strowman had a big salary, and WWE was looking to cut costs. But here's the crazy part. WWE might not be done with him. Reports say they're considering bringing him back part-time within 6 months to a year. That would make sense given his popularity and the fact that he can still draw money for big matches. Even without wrestling, Strowman's staying busy. He's set to host his own TV series on USA Network this fall. Whether he comes back to WWE or not, Strowman's doing just fine. Apart from these wrestlers, over a dozen other release talents are back on the independent circuit or switched to pursue different careers like modeling and acting. But let me know what you think. Which of these release stars do you want to see back in WWE? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.